If you have not met her, the chairman of the Edmondson for Governor campaign is right over there, Linda Edmondson. We've had a good day today. I got up at 4:30 this morning. Linda slept in until 5. And we headed north, had breakfast in Ponca City, lunch in Pawhuska, and now we're here for the better part of the evening right here in Bartlesville, America. Thank you for having us. I want to report that the campaign is going well. I feel good about where we are. The polls are looking good, all within the margin of error, which is a good thing. And I've said this before, I say it again, and it's all honesty. If I can't be 20 points ahead, I'd rather be 2 points behind, which is where our polls showed us we were. And 2 points behind, 29 days out, to me is a pretty doggone good place to be. We're going to work a little harder. We're going to knock a few more doors. We're going to make a few more phone calls. We're going to get a few more signs in people's front yards. We're going to do all that it's necessary to do to make up that 2% and gain some, where we bring this home for a win on November 6th. It is no secret why this is looking like a winning campaign. It's because the issues demand it. The issues are support for our schools that demand a change. The issues are the health of our citizens, which demand a change. The issue is bringing down prison population by providing mental health and drug and alcohol counseling to our people, and that demands a change. I don't care what face you put on it. It's going to take a new idea and a new direction, not a new face on old policies. It's going to take a change. I'm here to provide that change. We're going to make a difference. I visited just a minute ago with a teacher who was at the walkout. How many here are educators? How many here are teachers or former teachers? How many of you were able to go to Oklahoma City during the walkout? How many of you were there? I was there, Linda was there, the campaign was there, and I'll tell you this, every day that I was there, it charged my batteries. That much energy, that much excitement, that much enthusiasm about getting things done for the children of the state of Oklahoma was invigorating to me. And I was glad I had the opportunity to stand with you in Oklahoma City for education, for the children, and for the future of this state. It was the right thing for the teachers to do. I support and thank the school boards that not only did not stand in their way, but opened the doors for them to come to Oklahoma City. I want to also thank the teachers from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who walked from Tulsa to Oklahoma City to participate in that venture. And I want to thank all the 30,000 that were there the first Monday, the 50,000 that were there the second Monday, and all of those who were there on the last day who left Oklahoma City saying something that resonates with all of us, that should ring our bells from now to the next 29 days, and that is remember in November. Remember in November. We know what the stakes are. We know what we have to do. All that's left is for us to roll up our sleeves and decide that we're going to do it. We're going to talk to the people in our neighborhood. We're going to talk to the people in our churches. We're going to talk to the people around town. We're going to talk to the people in the civic club with us. We're going to tell them that this is important. This is important for the future of this state. As much as we would like to grow by sheer economic development, by bringing in new industry, and by helping existing businesses to expand, it's not going to happen unless we invest in our own people. If we don't invest in our children in our schools, we're not going to grow industry. If we're not going to invest in the health of our citizens, corporate America will not want to come to Oklahoma. If we don't reduce prison population, we're not going to be able to tell people across the country that this is a safe state to live in. We want them to come because the schools are first rate, because the health of our citizens is improving, and because the quality of life is without parallel anywhere in the United States of America. We have the assets that we need. We have oil and gas underneath our soil, and God bless the companies that are extracting it. Thank you for your businesses. All we ask is that you pay your fair share in taxes.
Right. Yeah.
Oil and gas are not our enemies. They are our friends. We're going to work with them. We're going to work with the legislature, regardless of political party. I'm not talking about turning this state blue. I'm talking about turning it purple, where Democrats and Republicans work together to achieve the common good. I am a great optimist that that is happening today, and it's going to happen come January. Democrats and Republicans working together. It'd be nice in Washington. We can do it in Oklahoma. We can do it in Oklahoma. So thank you for being here. Lynn and I'll be around for a while longer. We have campaign material on the table. If anybody wants to take one with you, those little window stickers are nice to put in the back window of your car. It's incredibly cheap advertising. All that I ask is if you put one on, drive politely. Okay. We're going to be around for a while to answer questions or visit with you. You want to do questions now?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Talk a little bit more about goals and plans for education in schools, where you're really get down in the brass tacks. What do you see?
I'm talking a little brass tacks. This year we're starting off with nearly 2,600 emergency certified teachers. That is the most graphic evidence of the teacher shortage, but it hides the fact that we eliminated positions before the school year ever started. It hides the fact that there's still positions unfilled. So 2,600 is good evidence, but the teacher shortage is higher than that. It is greater than that. 1/3 of our school districts offer no foreign language, even though it remains a requirement for admission to most colleges and universities. So there's a shortage. It's something that we have to work on, or we're not going to get class sizes down where they belong. So teacher shortage is one thing. 2,600, compare that to 2012. Compare that to just 6 years ago. How many emergency certified teachers were there 6 years ago? 32. 32, and there are 2,600 today. We have work to do. I have visited with teachers about what they need aside from money. Said, money's a given. What else do you need? And some of them said, we need social workers in the school. Our kids are coming to class with problems that we were not trained in school to deal with, that teachers shouldn't be dealing with. We need more social workers in the schools to deal with the fact that kids are coming to school hungry. They're coming to school having witnessed violence in the home. Many of them are coming from single-parent families. Many of them are struggling to get by to buy groceries. That is a problem that teachers are dealing with day after day after day, but it shouldn't be teachers dealing with it. It should be people trained to deal with those problems. On the other hand, we have guidance counselors in our schools that aren't doing guidance counseling. They're spending the bulk of their time giving tests and grading tests instead of giving guidance to our students on what to do with their future. So the teachers I talk to ask for more social workers, ask for more guidance counselors, ask for more control over what goes on in their classroom, more autonomy in their own classrooms, and most of all, and salary is a sign of this, but most of all, they were saying we need respect for what we do. And they should have that respect because they are dealing with our most precious commodity, the future of our children. Yes, sir.
Have you identified opportunities to enhance financial literacy for our young students?
Well, I'd love for them to do that. Financial literacy, You know, there are any number of courses that it would be nice to have, and that's one of them. To be able to fill out a checkbook, open a checking account, be able to pay the rent, to decide, you know, decide how to figure out how to compute the interest to find out what you're really paying for a car, things like that. I assume is what you're talking about, and it's sadly lacking. I am not going to mandate a course like that until we have all the math and science and English courses that we need, until we have foreign language courses, until we have art and music back in our schools. And if we have sufficient teachers, then that needs to be on the list of what's added. It needs to be an option, certainly. And maybe the day will come when we can mandate it. But I need to solve some other problems first. Yes?
What is your position? How do we get to have this state to have a living wage?
Oh, how do we get a living wage in this state where our current minimum wage is not there? We need to increase the minimum wage. It's going to be a tough sell with the legislature until the federal government increases theirs. And we typically track the federal government on minimum wage. They ought to raise it to 15 now, which would get us closer to a living wage. I'm not sure that would do the trick by itself. So I think we may need some new members of Congress from Oklahoma. We would hope the Congress would lead the way in getting that done. Yes?
Any chance of getting more tax revenue?
Well, I think there's an excellent chance of getting more revenue. As most of you, I hope, are aware, I have singled out 3 things that I'm talking about. Putting the gross production tax back at 7% where it used to be, doing away with the capital gains loophole. We used to pay ordinary income tax on capital gains. We go back to that, then we gain at least $130 million a year. And keep in mind, 70% of the $474 million that we lost over a 5-year period went to people who earn in excess of $1 million a year. So this tax break is going to people who really don't need a tax break, and it's hurting us in funding the things that we really do need, like education, mental health, and reducing prison population. The third thing is the tobacco tax. I want the other 50 cents on a pack of cigarettes. It was originally introduced at $1.50. It actually passed at $1.50, but didn't get the 75% it needed. I want to try again to get that other 50 cents. Those 3 items together, and did anybody hear me say I'm going to raise your income tax? That's because I didn't say we're going to raise your income tax. We're not going to raise your income tax. But if we do those 3 things, we'll gain in excess of $300 million more dollars in revenue. And the only one of those 3 that's a tax increase is cigarettes. The other 2 are putting things back the way they used to be. Yes, sir. Yeah. The question is, how can we get mental health services instead of just locking people up in prison? And the answer on mental health is it's on the books. It's written. The Department of Mental Health came up with a Smart on Crime proposal 8 years ago. It just never got funded. And it puts drug, alcohol, and mental health treatment around the state within the reach of families everywhere that they live. That is, to my way of thinking, the key to reducing prison population. This is not rocket science. Every study that's ever been done says that 80-90% plus of people in prison have an underlying drug, alcohol, or mental health problem. But instead of dealing with that problem, we wait until it finally comes to the attention of law enforcement and we send them to the penitentiary. It costs $3,000 to $5,000 to treat. It costs $20,000 to $30,000 to lock up. That again is not rocket science. You can either do it because it's the right thing to do, or you can do it because it's going to save us a truckload of money down the road. Either way, I can talk somebody into voting for it. I'll use. But the bottom line is we need to start doing this. I doubt if the Department of Mental Health could spend $300 million effectively in 1 year, but we need to start funding it and building it up to where they get the budget of that Smart on Crime program. Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on the opioid crisis?
Well, it's real. There's no question about that. There's litigation pending right now. Both private litigation and the Attorney General has filed a lawsuit. My hope is that one lawsuit or the other or both will end up changing the corporate culture of the drug manufacturers where they stop flooding the market with opioids. They are manufacturing far more than is being legitimately prescribed, and that's created our problem. It's very real. People have proposed different ways of dealing with it. There's even been an argument advanced on medicinal marijuana, that there are uses of medicinal marijuana that would either prevent somebody from becoming addicted to opioids or help them get off. I'm prepared to listen to any idea to do it. Right now I'm watching the litigation. Yes?
Wind farm, what's your stance on wind farms?
I'm a big fan of renewable energy, whether it's wind, solar, geothermal. If we live closer to the ocean, I'd be for tidal energy. We have hydroelectric. Several dams in the state of Oklahoma produce hydroelectric power. I'm a great believer in it. I believe when we run out of oil and gas that I won't be here anymore. It's that far enough down the road. But I also believe that it's inevitable. At some point, we're going to use all of the oil and gas we can find and extract from under our soil. We will have wind and solar energy as long as the sun's shining. When the sun blinks out, that's going to be the least of our worries. Yeah, I think the legislature was correct in cutting out the tax subsidies going forward. I'm a little leery about taking away tax advantages that were offered to a company in order to locate a wind plant. I'm concerned about the message that sends to the rest of corporate America, but I'm prepared to work with the legislature to see if there's a way we could craft an agreed upon solution, like when they have their capital investment recouped, then maybe that's the time to end the subsidy. But I'd like it to be a solution that sounds good to the industry, so corporate America won't be hearing, don't go to Oklahoma, they break their word. Yes, sir.
Two things real quickly. You mentioned having social workers in the school. Guess who gets laid off first when they do have funds? It's always those people that are not having that. Second thing, on minimum wage, if you know about the culture of like Burger King, McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, all those things, in their system, they have a kid on for 38 hours a week or something. As soon as they have to put them on 40, I don't care what the performance is, they play that off, so they move to the next level of the chain. 10 years later, these kids are still working, and they're usually our kids.
There's some pretty unscrupulous practices out there
Yeah.
on wage and hour.
Minimum wage, you're not fixing that problem, not,
I have become convinced over the last year and a half there are a lot more problems out there than I thought of a year and a half ago. I'm hearing new ones at every meeting I go to. That is certainly one. Pay attention to who you elect as your labor commissioner. That's going to be important down the road on issues just like that. The identification of employees, whether they're in-state or out-of-state, all of those things are working to the disadvantage of Oklahoma workers, and we need to pay attention to them. Yes?
What do you think about these proposals where a person, the people who are too poor to then do food stamps and health care and all of that, if they're not working, they are going to be tossed on the rolls?
Well, most of those programs require, if you're able-bodied and able to work, you're not eligible for those programs. So it's a very difficult deal. Oklahoma through our healthcare authority, here I'm particularly talking about Medicaid, gets very high rankings and ratings every time they're audited nationally. They have less than 2% waste or inefficiency within the healthcare system in their administration of Medicaid dollars. This talk about audit and work requirements is a lot of smoke and mirrors. It really is. Because what has happened when they have instituted work requirements, people will miss a report, they will miss filing something, they'll get knocked off for 3 to 6 months, and when they come back, they were eligible the whole time, they just missed a deadline. Well, you're dealing with typically poor people, typically less educated people, and you're putting roadblocks in front of their ability to get adequate medical care. And to me, that is, when there's not a clear and present need for it, a demonstrated need, to me, that's just wrong-headed thinking. So I'm not a fan of those kinds of requirements. You know, they've imposed drug testing on occasion. I think they did that down in Florida, and the number of people that they caught with some kind of illicit drugs in their system that they kicked off the rolls was dwarfed by the expense of the program. They spent more money testing people than they saved by catching the few that they saved. And that's just, it's false economics. It's somebody with a slogan instead of an answer is what it is. Yes?
Probably just one more question.
The chairman. The chairman wants to ask a question.
No, I don't want to ask a question. I'm just keeping us aware of the time, which Drew isn't always, so I was just maybe just one more question.
All right, we've got one more question right here.
Is there anything that, I don't like the way that the legislature does their budget. It seems to me have just a few people involved, then it's presented to the rest of the legislature like the day they vote. Does the governor have any possibility of helping them make any changes?
Well, pronouncements by the governor on how the legislature should act are usually received with mild amusement. I think having private conversations with the leadership on, here's what we need to do and let's shoot for this date, far more productive than standing up on a soapbox and criticizing the legislature for not doing it right. So I intend to work across party lines. I think the legislature will still be controlled by the Republicans, both houses, when I take office as governor in January of 2019. I've got to work across party lines to get it done, and I intend to do that collegially, friendly, as long as humanly possible, because I always have the backup of circulating a petition and putting something on the ballot if I can't get the legislature to move on it. And by and large, people have done a pretty good job picking and choosing on their state questions. By and large, I've been very gratified with the decisions that they've been making, and if I can't work with the legislature on any given issue, I'll be prepared to take it to the people. Thank you all for being here. I deeply appreciate it.